Alright, first and foremost, I want to give all honors and praises and glory belongs to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahabashai, Bahasham, Wahavaka Kodash. Honors to the apostles that have in the Holy Spirit and to the hopeful elect across the globe. This lesson is going to be based on, yes, the chief priests, the Pharisees, and the elders. Right? It's straight to the point. Let's go to Proverbs 30 and 12. There is a generation. So when you get that word generation, it goes back to genia. Genia. Right? Every 30 to 40 years, and someone dies, and you may have a son, you may have another son or a daughter or whatever. Right? So there is a generation that are pure in their own eyes. Right? Within their own mind, they're pure. Right? You may have a man that thinks, well, he does good deeds for people. He may open the door. He may see himself as a good Samaritan in his own eyes. He's pure in his own eyes, in his own conceit. And yet is not washed from their filthiness. Right? That filthiness is what inwardly. Right? There is a generation, how lofty are their eyes, and their eyelids are lifted up. And we know, yeah, speaking about Esau as well, but the scriptures are catered to our nation. Right? So there was going to be a nation of our people. They were pure in their own eyes. In other words, they were self-righteous. Right? Self-righteous. Let's go to Matthew 23. And everything we're saying is backed up by the scriptures. This is Matthew 23. We jump straight to the point, and 23. Woe unto you, scribes, Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye pay tithe of mint. So the key thing, they were what? Hypocrites. Not all of the Pharisees and the scribes were hypocrites. Most of them were. Right? For ye pay tithe of mint and anise of cumin. Right? Key thing. And anin of cumin. Right? So again, this was a common thing. Right? Bear me just a minute. Out of nowhere, all these red ants just pop out of nowhere. Hold on just a minute. You have to move up a notch. Excuse me just a minute. Let's pause this. Yes, an anise of cumin, right? Which is what? Different forms of what? Spices. Alright? And they were what? Extorting people. Okay? An anise of cumin. Right? And what else? Hold on a minute. And have omitted the weightier matters of the law. Right? They were always pushing the most important matters of the law. They were always pushing that aside. Judgment, mercy, faith, which Yahweh Shai, when you read the scriptures, when you read the New Testament as well, what was Yahweh Shai teaching his brothers, right? His disciples, his followers? These things: mercy, judgment, and faith. And all these things count. Right? These ought to have done, and not to leave the other undone. Right? See, blind guides. So in this truth you have blind guides. Yes, there could be men in this truth for 20, 15, 30 years, and they could still be blind guides. Because the Pharisees, they were on the scene for a very, very, very long time. When Yahushua was born, the Pharisees, they were already there. They were already set up with Herod. Right? But they were blind guides. They were blind instructors. You know what the scripture says? If the blind leadeth the blind, they shall both fall into a ditch. Restrain at a gnat as swallow a camel. The smallest matters. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye make clean the outside of the cup and the platter. Key thing. Outside. Right? The outside of the cup. And when you're drinking, you want the inside of the cup to be clean, because that's what you're drinking out of. The inside. Right? Not so much the outside, the inside to be clean. Alright? Ah man, and for you make clean the outside. Right? You just wash the outside. You put on appearance outwardly. But it's about the inward man. Right? And the platter, excuse me. But within they are full of extortion and excess, all types of wickedness. Right? Extortion and excess. Blackmail, bribery, and you can't blackmail and bribe what? Yahweh Shai. Are you crazy? Are you off your head? Okay, and excess. In other words, I know it sounds bad. Basically, these were These were niggers that just put on garments, basically. I know it sounds harsh, but these were niggers that basically just put on garments and look good, right? Though blind Pharisee, cleanse first that is within the cup, right? And the platter. So you cleanse the inward man first. What's within, right? That. Okay. That. The outside of what there may be clean also, right? Outwardly, right? So if you're dealing with the inward man, all right, you're working on particular things, that's going to naturally show outwardly, right? Because who you are inwardly, yeah, it reflects outwardly. Okay, so you can put on a nice garment, you can sit on these high seats and look good, go out into the highways and byways and try and look the part, but still be wicked inwardly, and that projects outwardly. Woe unto you, scribes, Pharisees, you are like whited sepulchres, tombs, which indeed appear beautiful outward, and there's nice whited tombs, they look nice, flashy, right? Which indeed appear beautiful outward, so they appear to, right? But within are full of dead men's bones and of all uncleanness, right? So key thing, it says full of dead men's bones and, excuse me just a minute, all uncleanness. So within them tombs, what is there? Dead man's bones, right? So these individuals, in other words, they have not woken up. They're in a dead state. Ezekiel 37, it talks about the valley of the dry bones. So basically, they're still in that state. They're still in a dead state. And it says they are full of what? All iniquity, right? And uncleanness. And where was we on Proverbs? What did we start from Proverbs? Hold on just a minute. So I hope this is making sense, right? What was going on? You had men fooling you. And it says outwardly they appear to look righteous unto men. So if it's outwardly, that means that's sorcery. That's manipulation. If you're not a man of the Lord, but you're acting and you're pretending and you're fooling people and you have an outward appearance, that's sorcery. That's what magicians do. Okay, like a rabbit in a hat. Rubbish. So these were like sorcerers, basically. The chief priests, and not all of them, the chief priests and Pharisees. That's what they were like. And that's why when you go back to Proverbs 30, it says, yes, there is a generation that are pure in their own eyes, and yet is not washed from their filthiness. Because remember, they were looking down upon the Gentiles. No, look at these degenerate Gentiles. But the Gentiles accepted, you had Gentiles, Israelite fathers that accepted Yahushua. Then you had those that were in Jerusalem that didn't. And they were wicked. So what's going to happen to them? This is why, again, you need to be balanced. This is why you can't be high-minded. Right? And you need to have a balanced mind within what? This truth. But men get carried away. They end up what? Feeling themselves. The Jews in Jerusalem, they were feeling themselves. But they never had Yahushua. So what did it all mean to them? Nothing. When you had them, Jews that were Gentiles, they believed Yahushua. And they repented. And they received salvation. So let's go back to Matthew 23. And even so ye outwardly appear righteous unto men. So outwardly, yes, you're appearing to be righteous, right, unto men. But within you are full of hypocrisy and iniquity. So they were just a bag of nonsense, right? Yes, they were full up of hypocrisy. And yes, iniquity. Full up of it. Right? That's why Yahushua says, do as they say, but not as they do. Okay. So now we went to that. Let's go to Luke. Abakashah. Luke 15. And before we go to Luke 15, let's go to Luke 16 and 15. And he said unto them, ye are they which justify yourselves. Why? Because they were proud. Right? They had that respect of persons, but the Most High knoweth your hearts. He already knows your mind. Right? For that which is highly esteemed among men is an abomination in the sight of the Most High. So everything that's esteemed here is an abomination. right? Because the more you're esteemed here, the more you're juiced in. If you're esteemed here, how are you going to be able to speak up against the wickedness if you're highly esteemed in this wicked world? See, why aren't men bringing this to the forefront, these scriptures? If you're highly esteemed here, how could you really be against society if you're highly esteemed? Because that means you're knocking shoulders and elbows with those that are also what? Wicked. Okay? And that's why when certain men talk about, yeah, we want Babylon to go down, it's like, well, you're highly esteemed here, so do you really want it to go down? Are you just acting? For the Most High Yahweh shall know if your hearts, for that which is highly esteemed. And that's why Yahweh always talked about, you take the low seat. That which is highly esteemed among men is an abomination in the sight of Yahweh Yahushai. Why would that be? Because now you've put yourself in that position where you're praised and Yahushai gets less praises because people are praising you. And that's what men have done. Right? They want all the praises. And therefore now when you mention Yahushai, they feel a particular way. Oh, that's your fault. That's because you were esteeming yourselves. You were esteeming yourselves. Right? And even if I was in this truth 20, 30 years, if anyone was calling me an elder, I would say, don't call me elder. I don't even want you to call me elder. But why are men doing this? Because they love them praises of men. Is there anything wrong with being called an elder? No. Peter was an elder. Okay. But personally, if anyone was to call me that, I'd say, no, don't call me that. You can call me by my Hebrew name and that's enough. Okay. Unbelievable. Right? A moment is highly abomination in the sight of the Most High. So yeah, if you're esteemed here, yes, you're an abomination in the sight of Yahweh by Sham, Yahweh Shai. Simple as that. Right? And that's what men have done. They've exalted themselves. Yahweh Shai didn't exhort them. They exalted themselves. Go to Psalm 51 and me finish off. Psalm 51 and go straight to 6. Behold, the desire is truth in the inward parts. So that's what we desire. In our inward parts, the inner man. Right? In the inward parts and in the hidden part, thou shalt make me to know wisdom. Right? Purge me with hyssop and I shall be clean. Right? Wash me and I shall be whiter than snow. Alright? So that's what we want to be. And what washes us? This word. Alright? But not all of our people are washed. Alright? That's why it's mentioned dead man's bones. Not all. There's a generation that is what? Clean in their own eyes, pure in their own eyes, but are not washed from their filthiness. That would be speaking about what? The wicked chief priests and Pharisees and so forth. Right? So with this lesson, I hope this was edifying. And until the next time, Shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom.